I believe that everyone can innovate. I believe that collaboration pays off. And this is exactly the theme of the Innovation Days. Make sure that you're never too busy to innovate. Make sure that you cooperate with one another, and that when you have a nice round wheel, that you show it to the colleagues, that you show it to our customers, and to make sure that we come forward as a company.
And I would like to leave you with two thoughts after my 30 minutes. One, that you all understand how collaboration is key for us to win our must-win battles. And I was happy to see that one of the main themes is collaboration of the 2 days. And secondly, the importance, the significant importance of innovation, our innovation power in achieving our must-win projects. These are the two things I would like you to remember at the end of the 30 minutes. Call for action to all of you. Now that you've seen it, I assume that you would hopefully remember it. But if not, I'll come back in a couple of months' time, and all my colleagues will do the same thing. But if you're not engaged yet in any of these things, please stimulate your engagement. Raise your hand and say, I would like to be involved in that. Because 5,500 people can do far more than 10. So please raise your hand and actively stimulate your luck and your engagement in this must-win projects. Take ownership of that. Do not wait until somebody asks you. Secondly, if you're working on projects and you cannot see the relationship with any of this, do please ask the question, raise the flag, should I still be doing that? Should I not be aligning my energy, my focus on these projects? You have the right to do so, so you should do so. And then lastly, for those who actually have teams working for them, please help me and help all of us to communicate further this message in your All Voices Counts, in your team meetings. Use the slides you have here, the red slide that we had, which brings it all together so people really understand. It takes at least 10 times, 10 times to give one communication before it lands, before it sticks. So this is maybe the 4th time we do that. We'll have to keep on doing that. It is key, it's important, and we want people, even at the shop floor, people that are at the machines, can actually say what our must-win battles are. Because if they know and they can make the link to what they do every day, they'll be helping us to achieving what we want to achieve.
Now, first question for you, who likes to laugh? Who likes to laugh? Everybody likes to laugh. How interesting. So nobody that says, oh no, I'm not really, don't like laugh. Okay, everyone likes to laugh. Very interesting. Then my next question for you is, if you all like to laugh, why don't you do something funny? Who wants to do something funny then? Because we all like to laugh. Nobody. Yeah, that's that feeling that you have right now. Exactly the same happens when you all know that innovation is important. If I ask you, okay, innovation is important, we all know that innovation is important. Now do something innovative. That's a whole different feeling. Something happens with you and you just felt it. That is a barrier for actually showing the behavior that you know you should do. All right, so this is a checklist for the right team culture, just for yourself. If you enter a team, keep this in the back of your head because these are the factors that determine the outcome of a team. Especially when it's about innovation and co-creation, you can measure it, something that we do. We measure these kind of things in groups and teams and companies, and you can put numbers on it. But if you don't have the assessment, you can just have it as a checklist. The questions to ask yourself, is there a vision? Is there safety, which we already discussed, is the trust? Is there support for initiative? When people try out something new, do they feel supported for that? Are there high quality standards? Or are you like quickly happy with the work that's on the table? And, or are you challenging each other to improve the quality of the work? And last but not least, they are in order of magnitude, the frequency of interaction. How often do you communicate with each other, or do people in the team communicate with each other informally and informally? These 4 factors are the most important ones. These are the questions that you need to ask yourself. Does the team have a clear common goal? if I'm working with a team, if I'm a leader of a team, or if I'm part of a team, does my team have a clear common goal? Do we share our expertise and concerns? So if they don't, ask people to prepare individually, write down things individually. That's a very simple way to already stimulate that. It's not a magical solution, but it helps. Do they really support each other? So there's a big difference between making promises, I will help you with that, and actually helping people with that. Do you see that they, in fact, help people with that? And quality, do they improve each other? So be critical about their work and the colleagues' work and improve that.
Start with the start. If marketing is dealing in attention, then sales is dealing in trust. I think we need to quickly talk about tooling. So what do we see in companies? Companies first started, when they looked into the sales, they wanted to have control. So they started implementing CRM systems, from Salesforce to Dynamics, to there's so many systems. And once they had that, they started thinking, yeah, that's interesting, now we can do proper forecast. But the salespeople had a big issue, because I'm actually interested in CRM systems to do my forecast, my pipeline. I want to figure out where things go wrong. But I especially would even like to know something more, which is if I send you a quote and you go back to the website 3 days later and you start looking certain pages and you start looking at some of my stuff, I want to know what this person is doing. And these days there are systems, they call that marketing automation. These days there are systems that if I send a quote, I know exactly how many times they've opened it, I know how many times they've went to the website, I even get a pop-up, they're on it now, phone them now, which is scary stuff, right? That mix is called growth marketing. You can automate a lot of it, works really, really well. But then something else is happening, and I see it a lot now. I don't know, for some of you, 10 years ago, I had a big Windows computer at the office. I tick like that, very slow. I had to wait half an hour before the thing was starting. And at home, I had an iPad. Press the button, thing worked. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to bring the iPad to work. And they went nuts, because security breach, but the thing works faster than anything you have here. Yeah, but it doesn't contain the protocols. So what happened was the bring your own device thing. So now you can do whatever you want. You can go into any Wi-Fi. It's all fine. Everything's thing. Now the same trend that there is happening within tools for sales. A lot of sales are trying to get proper scale. They want to go digital. They want to get true scale. So they're starting to use little tools. And I'm going to give you an example. So let's say I did some LinkedIn talk. So let's say I want to scale LinkedIn. I take Sales Navigator. I can build my list in there. And then I need to connect. You can choose if you want to connect on layers or not. There's a tool called Octopus CRM. It's free for 2 weeks. And you can basically automate connections, chat. It's really, really funny. Not funny, but it's really cool what you can do. So you start building your prospects, your audience, and then you have to post something. I have an agency, 8 people doing design. If you are not good with Photoshop and all of these design tools, you take Canva, canva.com. It's free. It's like Photoshop for dummies. 6,000 templates. You pick one, change color. Off you go, right? And then you need to write. Hemingway app, Hemingway editor, it's free again. You put in a text, it would tell you too many adjectives, too many nouns. It is written for a 20-year-old person. If you want to go social, you need to write it for an 8-year-old person. Really funny, but it's true. And then last but not least, you want to talk to the person, so you add Lucia. If you've never tried this, try it today. You add Lucia. Lucia will give you the phone number and the email number of anyone on LinkedIn. It's crazy, right? It's just ridiculous. And then you say, Michael, you forgot one. I think we've all been through an iPhone moment a few months ago. I don't think if people realized it, but we've literally gone through a true iPhone moment. This thing is changing everything currently. It's conversational AI. I don't want to talk too much about it, but I wanted to hire 2 copywriters. I didn't, because our 3-day process per customer just was reduced to like 3 hours. So for me, you need to play around with it, because the next 3-4 months you will have competitive advantages. Once you go beyond, if you don't use it, you're just below level. It's as simple as that. You have to figure out how this thing works.
Now, let's come back to that example, because and that's why I asked about the success probability. Just using this example, if we look at how many times a team is better than the other, versus the probability of winning any, not any, but this specific championship. This is what we see there. So to get to the level of flipping a coin, 50%, we need to be 6, almost 7 times better than the next one. And that's a lot. That's a lot, right? I don't think any team was 7 times better than the other ones, right? And so when we start looking at our projects and we say, well, we have 60% of chances of winning really big. When it's big, we enter in the presumptive zone. So we become so confident that we might challenge ourselves to understand if we are not underestimating what the competition has and overestimating what we have. And so, and everything that was done at Solvay in the last 7 years was to avoid this kind of thing. So, because there are 2 sources of misassessment. So the first one is about emotional biases. So I support Belgium. And so, of course, it's 60%. And so we should fight that when it comes to R&D. And it's paradoxical, right? Because what we ask our teams is so believe in what you do, come with your energy, but at the same time, we need people that is cold-blooded enough to look at that and say, well, let's get rid of this emotional bias. And the second thing is about lack of information. Because we might have the right behavior, but if we act on the wrong innovation, it's lost.
Well, for me, value-based pricing made me think of the famous scene in The Wolf of Wall Street by Leonardo DiCaprio, where he tells the audience, sell me this pen. Well, for us, it was, sell me this ground cover. Value-based pricing does not only mean to give value to a product, but also to the company that you are representing. It was one of the must-win battles from Danny yesterday. And for us, it can also mean to not only increase employee engagement, but also to increase customer engagement. And furthermore, it is self-explanatory to give value to the reason why you are asking price X for your product and to move away from price alone as a sales argument.
The marketing and innovation, it goes hand in hand. There's no difference to it, right? It's not about just coming up with a performance product. It is connecting that to the person, and in our case, to the players. You know, Phil Knight, it's a short anecdote. They asked about what makes Nike different, and he was talking in front of a group, and he said, okay, raise your hand if you've ever ran for exercise. Most people did. You know, do you run, once a month, once a week, and what about anyone run, no matter if it's raining, snowing, or any, and few people raise their hand. He said Nike is the company that when you're up early in the morning, it's still dark, it's wet, it's cold outside. We're the ones in the umbrella underneath the lamppost cheering you on. And so that's how he sees Nike, as it's not just the products, but it's the connection. And that's why everything we do with innovation is connecting the market and the marketing functions with the innovation function. It's all part of the same function.
Couldn't say it better. Thank you, John.
That still today, the whole innovation team is really great in checking for feasibility. We're a bunch of smart technicians in the long end. But in fact, we're pretty lousy in the viability and desirability part. And that's exactly where marketing, but marketing at the right level, kicks in. Not indeed about bringing samples on the market and the next display and the next color collection. I mean, that's okay, but that's all in the keep domain. But marketing in the sense on how are we going to sell this? What is the ideal route to the market? What are really the USPs of what we're bringing? What problems do we solve for our customers, or then certainly for BPES, of the customers, so that we bring maximum of the value. And I think that today, no, not I think, I'm convinced that still today we're missing out a lot on that one.
If you look at the product portfolio of Siyun, this is extremely diverse. So if we are looking at innovations are always, of course, we have the traditional product innovation, but we have also innovations with going a few steps further. And then This is totally innovative for us. Yeah, and then it's up to marketing, sales, and of course innovation to look, first of all, what is the profitability, and then secondary, okay, we make a plan. Yeah, but I think it's a bit another focus.
I could analyze all these examples, and I could give you some reason on why these were successes. But actually, and this is the scary thing, around 90% of innovation fails. Well, according to, I've took 90 because according to different sources, it's between 85 and 95. So I said it's 90 for the presentations argument. They fail. And my source is the book for How to Kill a Unicorn by Mark Payne, which is, if you're working innovation, a must read, I think. This is one of the best books about innovation that I at least have read, and a lot of colleagues have recommended it over time to me. Some of you were thinking about Henry Ford again, because he said, you know, and by the way, there's no proof that he actually said it. If you Google for hours, you will find a lot of people that claim, and his family claims, that he has never said it. But anyway, it sounds great. And what does this message imply? That you need visionary CEOs. You need visionary entrepreneurs to create valuable innovation. When they launched the iPhone, where did they make their money? The Mac or the iPod? What do you think? Who thinks the iPod? It was the iPod. What would the iPhone do? Kill the iPod. And so some executives went in a meeting and they asked Steve, are you sure that we're going to launch the iPhone? Because 60% of our sales are in the iPod, so we'll kill it. He simply said, we have to. Somebody else will do it if we don't.
And we've even pushed that so far that at a certain moment we said, why should we pay a lot of money? I imagine you're on Battibouw with our stand and be there. And we have gone really dramatical. At a certain moment we said, we no longer go to any trade fairs. Let's organize Taste Tomorrow events, yeah, in nice ventures. We invite our customers and prospects, and we tell a story around trends. And of course, during the break, we will show some nice recipes. But we're no longer there together with our competitors. The customers who come to our events, we have 100% dedication and attention, and that's how we do it.
It's that four groups have decided to step up and decide, we have an idea and we would like to challenge the status quo. It means that they come with an idea and said, okay, we don't know, and we take a risk. We stand up on the scene. They stand up today on the scene, exposing themselves, taking risk, despite a very full agenda, and they taking the risk to say, I would like to try it and I might fail. This is a change of culture. You perfectly know in a large company that you're not authorized to fail. It's bad for your career, you know? So what do you do when you don't want to fail? You increase the budget and you decrease the objective. You're not changing the rule this way. What Beaulieu is trying to do is to change the culture. And the culture has the property to change very slow. What is culture is value from the people, value from the organization. It creates norms, and then it creates behavior. So it's impossible to change this in only a few days, only a few weeks, only a few months. What does it mean? Top-down direction, and then the virus that is instilled in people. And the message is, yes, you can. Yes, you can have an impact. You do your job. You're very good at doing your job, and we like it. Thank you very much. But would you like to challenge the status quo? Would you like to see things that should change, things that should be improved? Very little thing or big thing. We're talking about a new business model. Lieven was talking really about a new business model on paddle. This is something, and it's risky. You have seen, and the question that you raised about this project demonstrates some, oh, is it possible? Is it credible? And that's normal. So are those people heroes? No, they're not heroes. It's daily people working at Beaulieu, deciding to challenge the status quo and deciding to make a proposition, you know? So they are not heroes, they just decide to do something. It's like us deciding to do something for the planet at home, talking with your child, and that's what we're trying to learn to our child. And those people clearly said, yes, we can't. And they don't know if they will succeed. So I come back to what Paul said. 3 teams. Are you satisfied?
If we take a look at design for circularity on another part, maybe an interesting example was with Rewind, if you want to go into contract markets, or with artificial grass, if you want to go into contract markets, what we see is we're designing a product which is raw materials, monomaterial design, fully recyclable, polyolefin-based. If we take a look at the production process, whether I learned today that we can weave artificial grass, whether it's weaving and putting a polyolefin dispersion backing or whatever, production is okay, distribution is okay. But what happens with the customer? First thing that the customer does in contract market, we put a thermoset. Thermoset is not recyclable. Glue on it, and we stick it to the floor. So what we did there is, together with the innovation department, Maxime Wagenende, I see that Dianto is in the room, I see that Jari is in the room. They're currently working on a solution, so we took the examples and we went to our recycling partner and say, to Ravago, these are the glues that we're using today, or our customers are using. Which kinds are recyclable? And basically they said, none. And then we asked, what is recyclable? And then they came up with a couple of options. And these are the options that we're currently testing with the innovation department in order to find a way to have, let's say, the full circle circularity, having our products recyclable. And then a 5th track is on sourcing and partnering. What I want to state there is for the sourcing and partnering, we're working very, very closely together with our procurement department, with Steve, with Dieter and Wout. And what we have set up there is, as a first stage, already some letter of intents. And circularity is all about open communication. That's also why I want to state this here. We have set up a letter of intent in terms of collaboration with Ravago, also with Acteco for recycling of Rewind. But on the feedstock part, there's also a letter of intent that we've set up with PureCycle. PureCycle is a business disruptor on the advanced recycling technologies in terms of physical recycling. So we're looking in there to have more feedstock from the physical recycle perspective as well. And also with Rough Plastics, which is a Belgian recycling company who can supply PP for extrusion applications, but also PVC.
What is our position into the future? Yeah, so just to go back a little bit to before, what we're trying to do is really to come in from this medium-sized conventional PP supplier to really to the most preferred strategic partner, and I'm insisting on this word, for the low carbon and circular solutions. Okay, and Peter just said why it is important to do that. Right, so how are we going to do this? So we're going to do this because we have, let's say, a couple of strengths. First of its size. So we are not a big player. Yeah? So most of our competitors is really handling 1 million tons, 2 million tons, 3 million tons of polypropylene. We are only handling 200,000 tons. So we're going to use that size, and we're going to use the low complexity we have in the business to establish ourselves as a leader, let's say, for fully segmented, I will explain that afterwards, circular and low carbon solution. Fully segmented means, Peter didn't explain to you what is actually this certification that we use today in chemical recycling, but this is seen as a greenwashing in the brand owner's mind. So because this is still mixing, let's say, polypropylene from, we say, green feedstocks with the polypropylene made from fossil fuel type of product, which they don't really like to have that. So it's still greenwashing because the consumer will say, hey, you are actually telling me something that is not fully segregated. So the unique opportunity for Polishing today is to be the first fully segregated supplier of these low carbon and circular solutions. It will take time, but you need to really to have that as a vision. Otherwise, there is not that many opportunities in there. So that means that we will come in first from using the mass balance, but to really fully segregate it afterwards. And then we will focus on a full suite of low carbon and circular drop-in. So it's an alternative to what is actually the fossil fuel virgin material today. So that means that we will completely out of the fossil fuel type of product. And then we will also try to focus on a couple of segments. So we will lead in what is said here, the charge on recycled content. So you heard that there is a lot of this word now. So in rigid food packaging, and later on into the healthcare applications, because these are the segments that really have a struggle to find this type of recycled content. And then I think you will see that you cannot really do this on your own, but you need to build a lot of, let's say, collaboration in the value chain. So what we try to do is to leverage the vast network we have, really to try to capture secure advantaged, let's say, green feedstocks. If it's not advantage, then it's not really going to be a profitable one. And also then to build very quickly a market position. And then, again, we are in the cost leadership type of strategy. So, but also the customer satisfaction. I learned yesterday that Polishim, from the last NPS survey we did, is actually topping all of our competitors by far. Yeah, so we have something in there that we should really leverage in terms of making a differentiation in the market. So these are, on the left, you see actually the certification. So currently the plant has been certified to be able to process actually this type of C3, which is bio-based C3, or circular C3.
So this is a very traditional life cycle. Basically, we have polymers that Beaulieu purchases. We convert those polymers and chemicals into a floor. We sell that lovely floor with a great design and great finish to our customers who love it. They use it for 2 to 20 years, and then they don't love it anymore. What happens to it? It gets trashed. Almost all vinyl today is either being burnt or put under the ground for the past 30, 40, 50 years. And even though we claim it's recyclable, which it is 100% recyclable, that's not a false claim, it is actually not being done today. So, and then I think somebody told me recently, Nele, yes, has told me in the past that in the future you're not allowed to claim that anymore if you cannot prove that it is being recycled. For 35% of that generation, sustainability is in the top 3 criteria for buying a floor. So it's definitely not to ignore. To conclude today, what have we learned? What I hope you have learned is that making CV a sustainable business is quite complicated, but I do think it's possible. Regretfully, the historic choices we have made restrict our ability to do that in an easy way because of the technology we focused on with the coating. But it is possible with other technology to make some big changes. I hope that you understand with the projects we're working on that we're looking at it from different angles and not just going for one solution. And I will end with some questions that I would like to ask you to reflect on. I recently did this in the management team, but I would like to have everybody's input, whoever wants to speak up, is to think about, okay, what is the willingness to pay? I mentioned that earlier. Should we invest or focus on partnerships with key suppliers or both? Yeah, it's important to know that. If we invest in new equipment, do we invest only in PVC flooring? Think about the PVC plastics problems we have on our plate at the moment. And then, last but not least, when do we invest? We have our Route 2030, but you can imagine all the technical things we need to do. We can't wait until January 1st, 2029 and say you get 12 months to get it done. That won't work. So this will require an upfront investment. And if you have any other idea, really, we are open to ideas and suggestions. There is no single truth, like Paul Lombard always says. So I also believe that, and what we know today is not what we know tomorrow.
That I'm sure that we within Beaulieu, we also have core competencies and expertise that we have built over several decades that we are really strong in. And to get to more transformative projects, which is one of the goals that were set, I think we can also all together think about new potential markets where we can leverage those competencies. And that also nicely links to actually the Magnifield project that I hope you all know, but for the people that don't know Magnifield yet, what is Magnifield actually? Magnifield is actually, it is a promise. Magnifield is a promise that you will get extra yield from your bifacial solar panels by installing a woven ground cover underneath, a highly reflective woven ground cover that enhances the light reflection and thus the yield of bifacial solar panels. We have a very long lifespan for a company today. And it's, the company was founded, it knew significant growth, and today we are actually a mature company, and many of the businesses that we are in are also mature businesses.
I can start, I think. Okay, so I'm Charlotte. I work mainly for the fiber department, and the project I will talk about is for the Terni turnaround.
Online. This is the virtual table, yeah.
The online
table.
So it's the first time that...
Okay.
Thank you. Hello. I came today to talk to you about the turnaround artificial grass. Why we want to do this was we are coming from a commodity residential type of products, from production, operation and excellence point of view, and we want to turn this around. We want to really break into the market to capture more value in the market. We want to do it via a product leadership strategy and to become one of the top 5 companies, sport companies in Europe.
I'm a big believer myself in open innovation. We really need to go out. At the time that R&D people were really stuck into a room is over. And it all starts from the market, in my belief. So you need to, all R&D people need to get a big understanding of the market segments where we are active in.
Exactly.
It's a 3-step approach. No wonder it's called Game, Set, Disrupt. First of all, as I said yesterday morning, we are on a product leadership strategy. We want to challenge Mondo for leadership in this market. So that means we're going to bring a product portfolio suited for the best Padel experience. We will look for the right countries. We will look for the regions where the growth is. We will make sure we come up with the right sales and marketing initiatives. We will also start looking into maintenance. And why is this maintenance so important? That's the bridge into the second phase. Because Padel, it's a replacement market very soon. Padel courts get replaced every 3 to 4 years, which is very quick. So that means in the next 3 years, there's not just a lot of new fields, there's also a huge replacement opportunity. And we think that a service business model will help us unlock that potential. So that's our second step, Padel as a service. That means for you as a club owner, you pay us per hour that the field is being used. That is how we make money. We're going to take care of the maintenance. We're going to take care of everything. You don't have to worry about anything. Now, this phase will bring us closer to the clubs. Next step is let's focus on the players. Let's focus on the player experience. Players are looking for fun. They are looking for competition. They are looking for community. And we think that with digitization, there's a lot we can do. Some ideas, gamification. You get real-time feedback. I serve. No, my arm was not high enough. I can get real-time feedback. Or another crazy idea, let's bring the Strava for Padel. Let's build this community. So that is what we want to do. I hear you thinking, good idea, but is it going to bring us money? We did the back of the envelope calculation. A lot of information on this slide, but long story short, if 25% of our customers go for the as-a-service model, we can double our profits in 2025.